I'd like to give you an example of how to write a thematic paragraph in the style of Mel-Con, using the short story that we had in our notes about theme, where Jenny Poshovier ends up giving away all of her Starbursts, which originally she was very excited about eating those Starbursts for lunch by herself. But then some fake friends came along, and hoping to get their trust and affection and be accepted, she gave away all those Starbursts. So let's first start with some tips for writing, which is basically Mel-Con, but I'm going to word it in a different way. So the first thing we want to do when we write is think, what theme are you even writing about? Because if you don't have a theme and a purpose of what you're going to write about, then it's going to be very hard for you to write a good essay or paragraph or even sentence. Okay, and then after that, you need to think of how you're going to hook the reader, because if you have no connection to the reader, that reader is, not to sound mean, but is not going to care about you and or what you think or what you feel, because you need to make a connection to them. People are very selfish. They want to feel connected to what you are writing about. Even if you're just connecting a little bit to them, you still need to make an effort of making yourself seem like a human so that they care about what you're writing. Okay, and then after that, then you can get right into your main idea, so what your theme is, and then after that you need to have at least 3 details from the story to show that your main idea is good, and then you need to have at least 1 sentence that links your examples to the big real-world connection. And after that, you need to conclude with a strong statement that will leave the reader satisfied. Okay, so let me give you an example of how I would write about Jenny Poshovier and her Starbursts. Okay, so first I need to think, what is my theme? And as I discussed in the other video, my theme from this story is that we need to be careful of how much and with who we share our good stuff, because if we share too much, we'll end up with nothing that we enjoy. But before I get into my main idea, it's always a good idea to hook the reader first. So I'm going to make a connection to my audience by saying almost everyone has had an experience of wanting to be accepted by a group of quote-unquote friends, even if we hardly know those people at all. Okay, so then I need to move on to my main idea, where I need to not only introduce the theme, but I also need to introduce the story that I'm talking about. So I would say in the short story from class today, Jenny Poshovier learns the hard way that we must be careful how much and with whom we share our prized possessions. Okay, so then I need to move on to my 3 examples. So my first example would be that Jenny was very excited for lunch because she had Starbursts. But then before lunch, and I need to use commas there, before lunch, Jenny's so-called friend Yudi demanded that Jenny give her all of the pink ones, even though the pink ones were Jenny's favorite. Okay, and you'll notice I put quotation marks around the pink ones were Jenny's favorite. That's because I'm using a quote from the story where it says Jenny liked the pink ones best. So I reworded it a little bit by accident. but it's a direct quote from the story, and using direct quotes will make your writing even stronger because you're using the voice of the author. Okay, so then my other example to prove that my main idea that we need to be careful who we share our prized possessions with is that later Carrie, who Jenny didn't even know, asked, or actually she guilted Jenny into giving her all the red and orange ones by lying about a time that she gave Jenny a whole Snickers bar. Okay, so even though that wasn't true, Jenny gave away her other favorite red and orange ones. So in the end, Jenny ended up, and I'm going to use a direct quote again, Jenny ended up with only the yellow ones and wasn't so excited about eating Starbursts anymore. Okay, so I use 2 direct quotes here. And those are just my examples. Now I need, and this is where a lot of you forget, I need to link these examples to the big real-world connection, which once again is we need to be careful with how much and with whom we share our prized possessions. Okay, and the way that I would write this link is to say that from Jenny's mistake, so from Jenny's mistake is a transition into what I want to say, we learn that although it is good to share, we must also hold on to what makes us happy in life. Okay, and now I need to end with a conclusion, which is a strong statement. And I'm going to make an assumption based on what I know about life, that especially since we will probably not make lifelong friends by giving away what is precious to us. I'm just going to slide this up a little bit. I apologize. Since we will probably not make lifelong friends by giving away what is precious to us, since to them it may seem nothing more than Starbursts. Okay, so I end a little bit creatively there by using the title of this story, Starbursts, in my conclusion. And I keep talking about the big world theme that, yeah, we're probably not going to make lifelong friends by giving away what's precious to us, since to them it may seem like something as silly as Starbursts. So if you read this paragraph to yourself, it should sound very smooth, and it goes from very big ideas to very little ideas to an even narrower conclusion that leaves you with no questions. Alright, so hopefully that helps you understand how to write a very strong paragraph thematically written in the style of Mel-Con.